hell can MLP generate so much hatred from within its own fanbase? Well, by putting your neck on the line for what you believe in, you'd better be ready for the inevitable backlash. For me, Flanderization has almost ruined the main 6, and that's my barking opinion, so learn to live with it or question it at your peril. Do you know what Flanderization is? If not, here is a quick lesson to bring you up to speed. Named after Ned Flanders of The Simpsons fame, it symbolises when a character is boiled down to the barest minimum of concentrated personality traits and executes them every single time he or her is on screen. Over time, Flanders went from a mild-mannered angel to Homer Simpson's devil into a Bible-thumping OTT religious guy to a point where any good meaning that he had was gone, to be eternally stuck in a repetitive rut of poor characterization and insubstantial development. Although, to be perfectly honest, most of the Simpsons cast could be classified as guilty of it, principally the main family itself, because when you boil down all of the show's cast, they're all full of stereotypes, tropes and cliches, but the damning nature of the main characters is what stands out more and more, and it explains why the newer episodes of the longest running animated show in history do suck. Because those characters are stuck in a routine and the episodes are written to facilitate them, to where no one benefits in the long run. If your show's main cast have no room to maneuver, then what else could be done? And this is what I feel Friendship is Magic is guilty of, to the point where many an episode over the last 8 years have been bogged down by some incredibly lazy writing that this trope has facilitated. In fact, the whole reason why this video is even coming into fruition in the first place is down to Season 8's issues with Twilight, when she's the main protagonist or supporting character. I've mentioned it a lot of times in my Pwned and Stuff reviews over the last few months, where she's written often to have an aloof perception of her own ideas, have them be struck down by other characters, although she isn't able to listen to them, and then be proven that her self-belief got the better of her and she has to rush to fix them. It's been done so many times, is so one-dimensional, and can be retooled to fit any situation without much change that it's impractical and unnecessarily tired. Then again, if this is the most recent example, then it has to stem from somewhere, because I mentioned it's across all 8 seasons, not just the latter couple. The fact is, our principal cast were pigeonholed and soon Flanderized from the moment the first premiere came through our television sets. And I wouldn't be prepared if I wasn't willing to go through all of them ad nauseum. Twilight's socially anxious indecisiveness and intelligence combined to create a conflicted character with no sense of direction that hung around for some time without making too much of a difference. Pinkie Pie was a walking joke factory with no care for the episode at hand when she just stormed in an attempt to make us laugh. Applejack was, and still is, a stereotype of the stubborn southern working class. Everything Rarity did harked back to clothes and her upper class demeanour in pretty much every episode that she's been a part of before and since. Fluttershy was needlessly meek even when it didn't call for it, as a butt of many a joke, while Rainbow was burdensomely staunch and egotistical in her tomboy aesthetic, making even the best episodes unpalatable thanks to her turgid personality storming through like an unwanted battering ram. Some of them haven't moved past this point, in particular Rarity and Applejack, despite minimal dimensions to their personality being added. Twilight may have shared the socially anxious side of herself, but it's already been mentioned that she's replaced it with a pompous and flagrant display of superior intelligence and ideals, which have proven to be a major stumbling block recently, while Pinkie Pie is as layered and as complex as a character of her eccentricities can be, but the indecision over whether she should be portrayed as an airheaded simpleton, an unintelligent comedy box, or a character of some emotional variety and brainpower depending on the writer, stops her from progressing and leaves her internally grounded. So that means 4 out of the main 6 have either remained pretty much the same since season 1, or progressed and got stuck into a point where they can't find any stable footing for themselves, which is quite depressing when you realise it's pretty much the entire main cast. However, when looking at the Pegasi of this equine sex tuplet, it provides a silver lining, as Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash prove to be the exceptions. That is why Almost is on the damn thumbnail and in the intro, because while the others have seemingly floundered, these two, fittingly having wings on their back, have soared. Fluttershy's initial timid persona was accented by moments of intense assertiveness, which were expanded on as the seasons progressed, and while this could have easily been Flanderized by showing her to be assertive and aggressive 24/7, she wouldn't have kept the name Fluttershy if that was indeed the case, which meant that both aspects of her temperament had to be balanced and fused together and utilised when needed as a way of showcasing how much she'd grown. But the good thing is, even though she's gotten confidence, she's still apprehensive in nature when it's called for. Unlike Pinkie, the writers know how to utilise this to their advantage, rather than it be a chalk and cheese situation depending on who's writing it and what day it is and what episode is needed. It also makes Fluttershy's statement to fans in Fame and Misfortune make even more sense, when people would expect her to be assertive more often, only not to do so out of common courtesy because it actually works. As for Rainbow, even though I'm not the biggest fan of hers, look at the damn list I made to prove it, I will always give her credit for being a character whose traits have evolved to ensure she isn't just a brash and inconsiderate tomboy anymore. And whilst he still showcases these elements of her personality from time to time, it isn't all that defines her, after having the nuanced sides inflated immensely to create a well-rounded character that can be varied from episode to episode depending on the situation at hand, much like Fluttershy. She's humble, supportive and excitable, all within reason while still showing the cocky bravado that got many fans behind her in the first place. And yes, I felt the wrath of them for a long time after that one video in question. I don't even have to make that apparent if you go and look at the bloody comments section. Hell, she even highlighted the cliches of her friend's Flanderization in Newbie Dash, in the only redeeming factor from that entire sequence. When Twilight said, "Think of the Wonderbolts as your friends, I didn't think you'd help prove my point whilst helping yourself stand out at the same damn time." That is crazy. The fact of the matter is, you may all think I'm being needlessly and unnecessarily critical about the main cast of characters on this show, and you have the right to think so because it's true. However, when you've had 8 seasons of quality progression in terms of their goals and accomplishments, but not in the fundamental personalities of these characters, their tired showcases in recent and past seasons becomes ever more apparent in their quantity. Some of them have managed to endure to not be as bogged down as others, but to see 4 out of the main 6 be crushed under the weight of this trope, it makes the supporting group of characters look like a breath of fresh air, to where every time they appear, you feel revitalized by watching an episode. Thank God for the CMCs, Spike, Starlight and the Student 6, because without them, Lord knows how things would move forward. Then again, these characters could all be Flanderized as well, and the cycle will never end. So maybe I shouldn't be holding my hopes up too high, considering the record we've already had, but you never know what is going to happen in the episodes and seasons ahead. Then again, considering how long this show has to go before it finishes, I don't think that's going to happen. Do you have a bucking opinion that you want to put out to the masses to see if I agree or disagree with it? Then stick it in the comments section and it'll be considered for a future video. And if you want to see more of these, then like, share and subscribe to showcase your support for it. I've been Freddie Thomas, you've been people listening, this has been Bucking Opinion for the CC Network, and I will see you all next time.